My name is Ker Rowan, I'm course manager at Hills. I was introduced to golf at a very early age. My mother and father were the club master and club mistress at Royal Troon Golf Club. My dad taught me to play golf, I would say roughly, too young to remember, that's how early it started. I first worked at a golf club when I was around, I think, 15 years old. It was work experience from school. So I went to my local golf club and I spent 2 days in the golf course, 2 days with the secretary and 2 days in the pro shop. And the best 2 days were the 2 days in the golf course. When I was 18, I went to Elmwood College near St Andrews in Scotland, and I did 3 years of education in greenkeeping. Once I completed my college education, I went to America for 1.5 years, so I spent the first 7 months at Westchester Country Club in New York. And basically, when it got too cold, kind of October time, I had to move further south, so my next 11 months was spent at Augusta National. I'll never forget driving down to Amen Corner for the first time, and just as you drive up, you just gradually see the 12th hole, and there's shivers going down your spine. I mean, I'm a bit of a golf geek, so for me this was, it was something really special. And working at Augusta was, I suppose, a little bit like a fairy tale, because they had, say, 40 guys on the greenkeeping crew, then 40 guys on the nursery crew, which looked after the plants and the shrubs. And I would say that working at Augusta made me more of a golf geek, or it made me want to, didn't accept I'd worked one tournament or a major championship. I didn't accept, right, I've done it, let's cross that off the list. For me, it was like, wow, how good is this? I need to do some more of this. So while I was in Augusta, I volunteered for the US Open, which was in Tulsa, Southern Hills at the time. I then volunteered to go to the Atlanta Athletic Club for the USPGA. It started a fire underneath me, and this was like the driving force of going forward of, I really enjoy working at high-end golf clubs and tournament golf clubs, and this was the catalyst for it, basically. I've now worked at all 4 majors, so I worked the 3 in America in 2001, and I came back and worked the 2004 Open at Royal Troon, which is like where it all began for me, where my mum and dad, where I was brought up, my first home. So, that was, slight tears in the eyes, that was very emotional. And then from there, I worked the Ryder Cup at Gleneagles last year, so that's effectively, if you want to call it, the 5th major. So for me, that was like, everything ticked off and checked off, and I don't think it's something many guys have done, so it's kind of cool. My first management position at a golf course was, I think, around 2006. So it was a new build golf course at Cameron House called the Carrick. They were a 5-star hotel, I would say famous worldwide, so they wanted to get the 5-star quality into the whole resort, from the golf course back to the hotel. And my boss at Cameron House was an Irish guy called Paul McLaren. It's a guy I knew from a previous job, so he was a close friend of mine, and I think he was a really good influence on me. He mentored me, he taught me a lot of the things that he knew, and he was keen to see me develop as well. So it wasn't just a job, it was it was a gradual progression. I think I was 31 when I got my first course manager's position. So it was at a golf course called Ranfurly Castle, which is, say, 10 minutes outside Glasgow city centre. Ranfurly Castle was a very traditional private members club, over 100 years old. So the course was a little bit short, but it was a hidden gem. First of all, our strategy was to get our crown jewel sorted, so focus on the greens and get the greens better. So we did that over, say, 2 years. We put drainage on all the greens, and then once that was done, we improved the quality of those, and we also formulated a plan for some new tees because the course was quite short. I think the members were very appreciative to the work we did there. We had a good plan in place, and over the 3 years, I'm really proud of what happened there. I maybe left a little bit early because there was still more of the plan to do, but yeah, it was a good experience for me. The first time I heard about Hills was through one of my good friends, Barry Crawford, who works down in Malmo. I came out to visit him October 2013. He says, "Do you fancy going up to Hills and playing some golf?" And yeah, absolutely. So we came up here, and when I walked through the door and walked all out to the panoramic window, was basically a first impression. It's a stunning view, and it's a great first impression. When I look back on my first season at Hills, to be honest, it makes me smile because it was so difficult at the start with the weather. But I think the longer I was in the job, I started to learn a little bit more about the greens and what fertiliser worked and what didn't work. I thought it would be quite similar to Scotland, but the first season, it wasn't. It was completely different. I think the club formulated a vision in kind of 3 different ways. They had their own vision of where they wanted the golf course to be. They went to the members and asked what their vision of the club would be. And also I think I had my personal stamp of what I thought was the best thing for the golf course also. That was then formulated into one vision. We all agreed that we wanted Hills to be Sweden's best golf experience by June 2017. The reason it was Sweden's best golf experience because we think, it's not just about the golf. It hugely is, but there's the whole experience of having your lunch, the reception, everything you get. I mean, to be the #1 in Sweden, a lot of it's about opinion. So the thing that's probably more important to us is to ask our members and our guests what they think of the golf course and to see, are we improving and are we the best in Sweden? Our starting point, basically, we took an inventory of the golf course. We looked at all areas. We looked at what was good and what was bad, and we mainly focused on the bad points, and then what did we then need to do to improve these and get them to the standards that we're looking for. The plan for each area, greens, tees and fairways, we broke down to basically a weekly basis. So we looked how often do we mow greens each week, 4 times or so, and then times it by the 4 hours it takes to cut the greens. So everything was very precise and very regimented. So we think we've got an exact number for basically every process we do in the golf course for every week of the year. When I talk to my friends about the plan and the vision we have at Hills, I think the first thing they do is have a little bit of a smirk or a smile because it is quite a quirky, unusual thing to do. But once they get into the guts of it, they see that it's not a joke, it's a well-formulated plan, and we have a clear goal. And I think once people get on board with it, they're going to love it as much as we do. For me, the difference between our plan and any other golf course I've worked on, I can't talk for every club, but is the detail we've put into this. We're looking at every single area individually, every single practice. So, we are being pretty articulate with this. We want this to be bang on, and I think that's what we're going to achieve. For me, I love the golf course. I have from the first minute I've seen it. From far away, the golf course looks stunning. It looks absolutely perfect. It's when you get a little bit closer that you realise that, there's a lot of work to do. The work we've done, I think, has been a big success with the new holes. I think the new bunkers are going to be fantastic. We're under no illusions that there is a lot of work to do, but, we're not scared of it. We're not shirking away from it. I think all the guys are on board, and I think it's going to be a fun couple of years, and I'm looking forward to June 2017.